Hey guys, Downphoenix here, and I decided to go ahead and commentate over a match that I had in Destiny. It was a Rumble match, which means that's a free-for-all match. That's 6 players, and this was a really interesting matchup, and the ending of it was just gut-wrenching, man. It was so epic. I don't want to spoil it for you guys, so you guys are gonna just have to watch and see how it progresses. But I want to go ahead and get on here to talk about my thoughts on Destiny. This is day 4 since the game is launched, and it has been a really it's been a thrill ride, honestly. I got the first kill of the match, hooray, so good start to the match, right? Not exactly, I got killed right after I got my first kill, but happens, right? But anyways, I wanted to get on here to talk about my thoughts on Destiny so far, because this is arguably the most hyped game of the year, the biggest game of the year, so on and so forth. Bungie's first game since 2010, so it's really been a long time since they've had a game out on the market. And this game has been very polarizing amongst the internet community. Just based on what I'm looking at on Metacritic, the game currently has a Metascore of 75. Now, there are a lot of review sites that have yet to release their reviews for the game, such as IGN, GameSpot, and so on. A lot of the big review sites haven't reviewed this game yet, but there have been several that have as well. Such as Polygon, The Escapist, Guardian, XGN, IGN Italia, which I don't even know why that's a thing, IGN Italy. I mean, is there really that big of a IGN crowd there in Italy that they need a review site specifically for Italy? I don't know, I guess maybe there is. But anyways, it's been very polarizing. Because if you look at a lot of the reviews on there, there's, quite a few positive reviews, but there's also quite a few lukewarm or even negative reviews. There's actually a 50 out of 100 on Metacritic, which is really interesting because you also have a 95 on the other end of the spectrum, which is, just quite wild for such a big budget release like this. And it's just really interesting to see this kind of response for this game. I knew this game wasn't going to be for everybody. This is kind of a new thing, but at the same time it's definitely got a lot of similarities to other games in the past, like Halo and Borderlands. Those are two of the games that you often hear about when comparing it to Destiny. Yeah, it does have similarities to those games. That is without a doubt. Definitely, the combat has the feel of Halo. A little bit more faster paced than Halo, in my opinion. But it definitely has, the mechanics behind it. Now, you do have, of course, the... I love this super, man. I love the Blade Dancer. But you definitely have the mechanics of Halo as far as the way it moves, except it's a little more fast-paced. Little more gritty action than what Halo has. And, but it's really not that much like Halo, in my opinion. It's, definitely has the similarities. That goes without saying because, it is Bungie. They are going to kind of borrow elements from games they've done in the past. And I kind of stopped him from doing his Blade Dance maneuver because he did it too early. But he managed to pull off his Nova bomb or whatever with perfect timing. So I got killed. But, it's really interesting just to see everybody's reaction to this because this game is... I don't want to sound like Bungie when I say this, but this game is not like other shooting games. As a whole, it definitely does borrow elements. Like, as far as Borderlands go, you do have the different loot system. You have the co-op elements, obviously, where you can play with your friends. together on missions. You know, it definitely has that element to it. But see, the thing is with Borderlands, the loot system is a lot different than this. You know, it seems like you get items a lot more often in Borderlands than you do in this. You know, you don't get rewards quite as often, so the guns aren't quite as similar to each other as they are in Borderlands, where you're getting through the loot through the game, it seems like a lot of the guns are kind of the same, and the only things that change are like different elemental damages and bonuses and things like that. In this game, there's not quite as many guns, but there is more differentiation in how they handle, as far as how fast they fire, what kind of impact and damage they do, you know, how many shots you get in a magazine, you know, just various things like that. Speaking of the melee combat, I really love the melee implementation in this, because instead of it being mapped to the right stick, like Call of Duty, for example, or the B button like Halo was, it's actually mapped to one of your bumper buttons, or, you know, R1 in this case, you know, for the PlayStation version. I really like the way it is, because melee is easy to do. You know, it's got a really easy button that you can access. You don't have to move off the stick. But at the same time, you don't have the worries about, like, if you're like me, I don't like the way Call of Duty does melee because of the right stick. Because I oftentimes find that the left and right stick button presses are a little too easy to do. Like, it's just a little too easy to accidentally use that button thing. And same with Halo, you know, I always had an accidental issue with zooming in when I didn't want to. So I usually prefer that those buttons don't really have anything to do, honestly. Like, because I run into that problem with accidentally pressing those buttons. That's just me, personally. Good job, Umbrella Rocks. Anyways, though, this is kind of a rambling video. I realize that now, you know, I've kind of really derped out on the conversation here. But I just really like the control scheme of Destiny. It's very well balanced, very well handled. I just love the way it maneuvers. And I would say this is probably one of my favorite FPS games, if not my favorite FPS games, based on the control scheme. Because everything is just so well laid out in this. It's perfect in my eyes. You're not dead yet. So, pick it up. I mean, if you love a shooter with good shooting mechanics, you don't need to look anywhere else, honestly. The only shooter I've played this year that even came close to this in far as good shooting mechanics was Wolfenstein: The New Order, which is a fantastic game. The reason why I had that issue with the fusion rifle was because I was accidentally pressing the left stick to run, and you can't charge up the gun while running. So I kind of had that issue. That's something I'll have to learn to get past here. But the fusion rifle, I guess if there's one weapon, in my opinion, that's overpowered, it's that gun. It's pretty much like a shotgun, except you have range. You don't have to be, like, right next to somebody to use it, which is, you know, great in my eyes. It's definitely helped me here. Look, I'm only 5 points off victory, because you had to get 2,500. I was 5 points off, man. That was so close. It was an epic match. I had a lot of fun playing this particular match. And, yeah, I mean, I really strongly recommend Destiny. If you want to play with me, I am playing, of course, on the PlayStation 3 at Downphoenix. And with that, guys, Downphoenix out.